In this short, we'll talk about the importance of working out a color palette when drawing with markers. Hey friends, so this might sound obvious, but when it comes to your artwork, color is so important. It can take your drawings from kind of childish to really sophisticated and beautiful, and that's why we're talking about color palettes. To start, I've illustrated two flowers. They're basically the same, but you can see that the one on the left is, well, I've just grabbed greens and pinks out of my marker tub without giving it much thought. But for the one on the right, I've really considered what peaches and pinks and burgundies and evergreens I want to use, and that has made the difference. So that's what we're going to talk about together today, and we're going to start by creating a color palette. It's so important before you jump into a piece of artwork to make the color palette, or at least think about it ahead of time. So planning is so important. In this example, I'm pretending I want a color palette of kind of pinks and purples and yellows. So I'm testing out a whole bunch of pink and purple colors and yellows. Some of the yellows are really bright, almost lime. I love that mustardy yellow. Some of the purples were very burgundy, but others were very pretty. And so now you can see me creating the palette out of those colors that I first tested that I really want to use. It's got all these soft pinks and purples, a mustardy yellow, and then I grounded it with a bit of brown. So by working through a lot of colors, testing out the ones in my set, I was able to come up with something I like. Now for the second color palette, I am going to try and create an analogous color palette or scheme, and that is one where all the colors are kind of in the same family. They sit beside one another on the color wheel. So pinks, peaches, it all flows. And so that's the second color palette I tried out. Now for my third palette, we're going to create a triadic scheme or triadic palette. And an example of a triadic would be the primary colors like red, yellow, blue, but I don't want those like kitty Crayola colors. I want to make it more interesting. So I'm using that mustard yellow that I love. I'm using sky blue, periwinkle, and then instead of red, I'm reaching for a nice cool pink and a dark magenta. And you might notice for that one, I grounded it with some warm gray. It's just good to throw some gray in there. Finally, the fourth color palette is going to be a complementary color palette. So that is colors that are opposite on the wheel, like red and green. They're very high contrast, or purple and yellow. But you can see instead of those kitty Crayola colors, I'm reaching for, almost a pinkish red, an evergreen, a little peach. And then with the purple and yellow, I've got a very light yellow, a mustard, and same the dark purple with the light purple. So it's all about finding colors that speak to you. Buy your markers in art shops one by one and bring a little pad of paper. Most stores will let you test the markers before you buy so that you're getting the color that speaks to you. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.